Hello all, this is your educator Tanya Saluja, and I'm going to explain you today the three significant movements which were carried forward by Mahatma Gandhi in his leadership, which carry a great significance in India's struggle for freedom. So if we look at the background of Mahatma Gandhi was a lawyer, and you may consider him a saint, or you may consider him a shrewd politician. But he was the one who brought masses into the national movement, and the in the case of moderates and extremists, which we have already seen, Congress basically was functioning as an elitist organization, whereby the moderates were carrying out prayer, press, and petition, their own methods of struggle. And the extremists, on the other hand, under the leadership of Lal Bal Pal, were trying to persuade the Britishers to yield and to bring their own Swaraj into the country. So all these methods were adopted by them. So they were contributing along with the revolutionaries. All the people, all the sections of the society were trying to win independence for India. So as we are here to know about Mahatma Gandhi Mahatma Gandhi was already carrying a lot of he was actually working and making significant progress in South Africa as well. He set up a Natal Indian Congress, and he had set up Tolstoy Farm, Phoenix Farm. All these ideas were inspired by the writings of Ruskin Bond and Leo Tolstoy and other significant writers, which had a significant impact on the works and methods of Gandhiji. So when Gandhiji came to India on January 1915, he was asked by Gopal Krishna Gokhale to first of all not to become a member of any political party, but what he should do a Bharat Darshan, so he is able to identify the ground realities and the problems which the British India was actually facing. So what Mahatma Gandhi did was he carried his Bharat Darshan, and first of all he had a great stint with the public when he went to BHU, and in BHU he saw that it was sort of elitism which was taking place, because in BHU there were no presence of farmers or peasants. But what happened actually was that it was mainly functioning as the address was taking place. There were significant talks about the country's future, but there was no presence of any peasant. So Mahatma Gandhi was appalled seeing this, and he called all this elitism. So after Mahatma Gandhi's speech at BHU, he was invited by a local named Rajkumar Shukla to actually come to Champaran, Bihar, and to solve the problem of indigo cultivators. So actually what happened was there was this system called Tin Kathia system, whereby the peasants were forced to grow indigo on 3/20th part of their land, also pay illegal dues to the European planters, as well as concessions and fees, and also they had to grow indigo on the best part of their land against their wishes, as well as had to sell the indigo at the prices which were fixed by the Britishers. So the Indian peasants were extremely in a bad situation. So with the passive resistance used by Gandhiji, he was made the head of the inquiry committee, and Gandhiji was successful in abolishing the Tin Kathia system and thereby granting relief to the Indigo peasants. So after this, what happened? There was another strike in Ahmedabad that was known as Ahmedabad Mill Strike, and which happened in the 1918, whereby what happened was that there was the issue of plague bonus between the mill owners and the mill work. What happened was that to tide over the plague bonus was given, but because of the inflation which had happened due to World War I, the workers wanted that the plague bonus should continue, but the mill owners were not ready to grant permission to such concessions. So Mahatma Gandhi rose to the occasion and was successful in granting of almost a 35% increase in wages, which thus resulted in a relief to the mill owners. So with these small movements, or we can say the baby steps which were actually happening, which were preparing the people of India as well as Mahatma Gandhi to rise to the occasion and to move forward with big movements as well, which will involve women and peasants, people from the villages, and the Mahatma Gandhi will actually help in binding the people of India into a particular movement to yield results, and thus to such an extent that Britishers will become wary of Mahatma Gandhi. Such was the power of Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. So now we will move forward and look at the other major three movements which took place and which actually resulted in great rise and of India, and which because of the people of India were made possible, and we'll be seeing them. So first of all, we are going to learn about the non-cooperation movement, which actually began on the 1st August 1920. What happened in the non-cooperation movement was that Mahatma Gandhi and his comrades decided that we will not cooperate with the British government till the British government meets our demands. So there was a significant boycott of law courts, and the lawyers such as Aruna Asaf Ali, Jayaprakash Narayan, etc. gave up their lucrative legal practice, and there was the absolute boycott of educational institutions as well, because of which it led to the creation of indigenous institutions like Gujarat with Vidyapeeth, Bihar Vidyapeeth, etc. So this non-cooperation movement happened because there are a lot of reasons behind it. First of all, non-cooperation movement happened due to the Rowlatt Satyagraha which took place, and Rowlatt Satyagraha and Jallianwala Bagh massacre and the Khilafat agitations and the failing of the 1919 Act. So what happened was, in the case of Rowlatt Act, which was actually to continue with the... So in the Rowlatt Act, it was actually an act without appeal, vakil or dalil. It was a cruelsome act which had actually carried forward the worst provisions of the World War I. So it was actually very much opposed by the people of India, but to no avail. So Mahatma Gandhi on 6th April 1919 launched the Rowlatt Satyagraha to counter the act and to protest against it. Also, in the Jallianwala Bagh massacre, what happened was that Dr. Satyapal and Dr. Saifuddin Kichlu were arrested by the British government. They were great Congress leaders, so the people were protesting against it. Also, there were the celebrations of Vaisakhi, which were happening in the 1919, but because in order to crush the opposition, the protests which were taking place, the British government ordered the killing, the massacre of such a great amount of people at that it was a troublesome, terrifying, cruelsome incident which took place in the history of mankind. So Jallianwala Bagh massacre was such a great, cruelsome incident that Rabindranath Tagore gave up his knighthood, and Mahatma Gandhi returned his Kaisar-i-Hind, which he had earned during the Boer Wars. So, because of the atrocities which took place in Punjab and the Rowlatt Act, which was taking place throughout the country, also the Khilafat movement was a significant contributor towards the national movement, because Gandhi ji rose to the occasion and saw the Khilafat movement as to bind the Muslim of India with the national movement. So the Khilafat agitations also combined into the national movement, into the non-cooperation movement. There was a great participation from all the sections of society, and we can say that it was a great movement. But the event which took place at Chauri Chaura in Gorakhpur turned out to be a tipping point for the non-cooperation movement, and all the activities such as the charkha or the khadi, which became the symbol of national movement, the picketing of liquor shops, Swadeshi movements, passive resistance, all these ideals which were formed by Mahatma Gandhi, all these came to an end as the movement took a violent turn. So Mahatma Gandhi withdrew the movement. So this phase of struggle came to an end, and also later we will learn about the strategy of struggle, true struggle, which I'll be explaining you when we will be completing all the movements. I'll be explaining that in the last. So in that struggle strategy, the struggle came to an end, and there was the time of truce. And in the truce, the practices which for the abolition of untouchability, Hindu-Muslim unity, and khadi, promotion of khadi, village industries, cottage industries, all these constructive work used to take place in the truce period of national movement. The significance of carrying out this strategy was because the capacity of common people to sacrifice is limited. Also to add new vigor and new strength into the people, so that they are ready to move forward and to be able to participate effectively in the national movement. So another significant movement launched by Gandhiji was the civil disobedience movement, which was launched on the 12th of March 1930, and here the Gandhiji was against the salt tax which the Britishers were actually charging people. So he carried out a salt satyagraha from Sabarmati Ashram to Dandi. Also during this time only, the Congress in its Lahore session declared Purna Swaraj as its goal. And also the Congress Working Committee had approved the for carrying out the civil disobedience movement by Mahatma Gandhi. So Gandhiji carried out this march, which was more than 240 miles, or we can say 386 kilometer. So it was a great walk of strength by Gandhiji, because he was joined by leaders and people from different walks of life. So this also intimidated the Britishers, which we will see that Gandhiji had actually had actually will come to play a more and more significant role in the national movement of India. So it was a great movement in itself, because it was the first time that women who were traditionally tied to their homes, they actually came forward and took part in the breaking of salt law. And women such as Aruna Asaf Ali, Kamla Devi Chattopadhyay, they significantly became comrades of Mahatma Gandhi, and they walk side by side their men counterparts to break the salt law. Also, there was heroic deeds which were being done in Dharsana, which was actually covered by American press, whereby people were being beaten up by Britishers, by the cruel government, and they came forward again, had their beating, then again went forward, then another set of people came, had their beating. So such was the sacrifice and dedication by the people of India, which was being seen and highlighted by the American media, and the Britishers were actually being shown in a bad light. So we can see that with so much press coverage happening, so it had a significant view of British India in the eyes of foreign media. So this also significantly helped us. Also, there were many followers of Gandhiji, including the Khudai Khidmatkars, and they were popularly known as red shirt volunteers, and they carried out Gandhiji's struggle in the northwestern part of the country. Various shibirams to protest against the salt law. In the Kerala, the movement was carried forward by K. Kilappan, and from Trichinapalli to Vedranam, it was carried by C. Rajagopalachari. So we can say from east to west, from north to south, the movements were being carried with full on vigor, and new strength had seen in the national movement by the people of India. So as we have seen earlier, that the violence which took place in non-cooperation movement led Gandhiji to withdraw the non-cooperation movement. But in the case of Quit India movement, we will see that the violence which is done by the people of the country, because of the temper which was taking, because the things that were taking place, the temper of the country had become violent, because in the case of Quit India movement on the 8th August 1942, all the significant leaders of the Congress, including Gandhiji, they all were arrested. So this had led to violence, and this had led to shattering of the hope of the people, that to what extent the British government was stooping. So the Quit India movement was carried mainly by the students from Patna to Allahabad, and in this movement we will realize that Gandhiji was actually Gopal Krishna Gokhale, and he was slowly transitioning into Tilak, as he will not withdraw the movement at this time. There were significant reasons for the launching of the Quit India movement. For example, the Cripps mission, which had come in March 1942, it had actually failed to solve the constitutional problems of India, the constitutional deadlocks which were there. And the news of the British defeat in Southeast Asia had become the main cause where people thought that they can fight against the British government. Also, because of the rising food prices and shortage of food grains and commanding of boats in Bengal and Odisha by the government was leading to increase in the discontent of the people. Also, the people were getting demoralized because the people were getting demoralized. So Gandhiji had become wary that they may not fight in case of any attack by the Japan. So in order to capture the fervent and imagination of people, he had launched this movement. Also in Quit India movement, Gandhiji said, he gave the popular slogan which you all may know, which is do or die. That means that we shall either free India or die in the attempt, because we are not going to see the perpetuation of our slavery. So by this time it had become very clear that we are not going to accept the slavery or the misfortunes which have been executed upon us. So in this movement there were special instructions in which the peasants were instructed they were not to pay any taxes. The princes were asked to accept the sovereignty of people. The government servants were not allowed to resign, but they were asked to openly declare their allegiance to the Congress and to the nation. Also, underground leadership, underground movements with the help of Aruna Asaf Ali, Sucheta Kriplani, Jaiprakash Narayan had also started taking place. There were emergence of parallel governments, such as one of the governments which I remember now is of which was made in Balia in Uttar Pradesh by Chittu Pandey. And there was another parallel government which was there in Satara by Y.B. Chauhan and Nana Patil. So all these parallel governments were being made, which actually showed the Britishers that what their real importance is in this country, and they are no longer required in India. And so the general attitude of the people was that the Britishers should quit India immediately now. Also, now let me talk about the STS strategy, which you might find in the timeline, or the chronology also. And struggle to struggle strategy is something that the movements were taking place. And because it is not something, because Britishers ruled over our country for 200 years. So we had to build the tolerance, because there was no guarantee that with the non-cooperation movement we will gain independence, or with the Quit India movement we will gain independence, because their lives, their future was unpredictable and uncertain. So the masses had to be given the time of truce or breaks in between these big movements. So this that these periods of rest had to be assigned to the masses so that we can tap the energy of the masses and give them independence. Because at a stretch, for example, at a stretch you can work for 4 hours or 5 hours, but you cannot work at a stretch for 18 hours. That is just not humanly possible. Given our limited energy, we need rest. We are not machines, we are not artificial intelligences that we will function and we will go on and on and on. We need rest. So, in order to ensure that rest, a great movement was carried forward. It used to culminate, it used to achieve its objectives. And when the movement went from here to here and it plateaued and it went down, the periods of breaks were assigned to the masses. The withdrawing of the movements and everything used to take place in order to give rest to the masses, so that with new energy, with new fervent, they can contribute and they can participate in the national movement. So this was the STS strategy, as well as the significant movements which took place in India's struggle for independence. I hope you had a brief idea, or you are able to actually understand in this time limit of 15 to 20 minutes. You are actually able to understand what the entire freedom struggle is all about. Also, when we will learn about it in the detail, we will be adding all the famous personalities which were part of this movements, what significant activities took place, and what were the after effects. I hope you are able to have a brief idea of what these movements were about, what role was played by Mahatma Gandhi and the people of India. So thank you. Hope you have a great day ahead. Bye.